emotional. I'm surprised. I mean, who am I kidding? Me emotional? Okay, on Tuesday, November 4th, my 7th project is coming out. And it's had me really nostalgic thinking about the fact that I've been writing and recording and releasing music for almost 20 years. So I thought it would be fun today to look back on all 6 projects, because some of you have been with me since even before the very first one, and that's crazy. Okay, ready? Number 1 was Superhero 2008. My first child, my first baby. A lot of it was written while I was on the road with Wicked up in Toronto. I would do the show and I would go home and stay up all night in I had just newly discovered GarageBand. I was signed to Brian McKnight's label at the time, and I have a tendency to be very impatient. And I was waiting and waiting for them to pull the trigger and start working on my project, and I just got tired of waiting. And so I just decided to figure out how to do it myself. And I worked with this great producer in LA named Drew Kapner, and we did everything at his studio in Torrance. And I have a lot of good memories of making that album. My favorite song on the album, probably 116th. I think most people remember Superhero for Naomi, which I co-wrote with my friend Titus Burgess, which is a true story. I was that girlfriend who would snoop in the phone, and I looked in his phone and I was like, who is Naomi? Because he definitely was like, she's just a friend.
What's this?
I mean, you know what this is. She needs no introduction, this woman. It's a time warp, honestly. Every single album is such a snapshot of whatever version of myself I was at that time. And for me, Superhero was, oh God, I was so hurt. I was so disillusioned by life and love and my career and dreams that I thought I wanted or things that I thought would be different. And I think you can hear all of that angst and anger and pain and determination to prove something in Superhero. You can hear it in every layered background vocal, in all of the big notes, and in like totally over excessive riffing. You can hear it in the writing. There was this girl who really wanted to prove that she was worth a shit as a person, as someone to love, as someone beyond Elphaba and Wicked. She had so much to prove and so much in her. That's who the 2008 Superhero Shoshana was. We worked so hard on this shit. Like, if you listen closely, there's like me going like breaker, breaker, like. Bro, I thought I was something with this like gully. I know it looks like I got it all together. I know it seems like I can make it through whatever. It appears that I can do it alone, but you got it wrong. Yeah, you got it all wrong. Come and save me, boy. All I need is a superhero. That's crazy. I don't even remember the last time I listened to that. As much as the album, you know, is just really a little bit like of a certain time, like sonically, I am really proud of that kid who just moved out to LA and figured it out. I feel like if I met her, I would have been like, whoa, you're a lot, but fucking good for you. You're gonna have a long road, kid. Hunker down and pray for daylight. Okay. The next one, yes!
What's this?
The next one, I'm real proud of this girl. Really proud of this one. People think it's named O'Farrell Street for the street in San Francisco, but for those who know, O'Farrell Street was the street that I was born on and raised for the first 6 years of my life, in a little tiny house on O'Farrell Street, O'Farrell Avenue in Olympia, Washington. And we had a record player, and this album was inspired by the sounds that I remember coming off of that record player. Just old blues soul records. So that's why I named it O'Farrell Street, because it felt like that warmth, that nostalgia of my earliest memories, my earliest musical memories. This one was a totally different process, because this one was written over the course of a few years, I think. And my process was woven into this residency that I had in Los Feliz at, it had two names. First it was Bar Vermont, and then it was Rockwell. And they were like a home to me. I had the best band and singers, and I would just write new stuff every week. I probably wrote 30, 50 songs, and we'd just try stuff out. And this was the first time that I sort of let an audience inform me. I could just tell immediately. I would write a song, I'd bring it into the musicians, they'd make it infinitely better, we'd perform it in conjunction with covers from a certain era in the set that were inspiring, like all of these. And I just would know really quickly if people were vibing with something. And yeah, this was a special era for sure. It was when I really fell in love with songwriting. And my favorite song on this album, and I really do love them all, there's not a stinker on here for me, is I'm Not Unchanged. Oh my God, I remember the day we picked these vinyl up from the guy that pressed them for me. It was terribly exciting. I'd never had anything pressed on vinyl before, and it was like, it was a special day. Okay, it's track number... Woo! Perfect timing. Makes me a little bit emotional. I'm surprised. I mean, who am I kidding? Me emotional? That's Melanie and Luke. And Camila.
I will never understand those who choose to walk away from love. I will never understand why love can't always be enough. I am not unchanged. I am not unchanged.
Yeah. If Superhero was like this attempt to just like iron out every kink and make everything pitch perfect, like note perfect, this one's only goal was to feel good. And I remember my producer said to me, it's time to stop worrying what it sounds like and start to worry about what it feels like. And I remember that being one of the biggest lessons of O'Farrell Street. I feel like you will hear elements of what this was all grown up on Only Smoke. Yeah, I'm proud of her. It's a goodie.
What's next?
After O'Farrell Street was Shadows to Light. And that title I have to credit Layla Hathaway. And I sang at this gig at the Grammy Museum, and Layla Hathaway was there, and she tweeted me after the event and was like, you were everything they said you were, shadows and light. And that felt like the single greatest compliment I had ever received from someone who I revere and admire. And then I found out that it was a Joni Mitchell album. So I said, shadows to light, walking through the shadows to get to the light, sort of a period of time I was in again. Yeah, I love this one because it just felt rootsier and grimier, and again, I just kept stripping away. I just kept stripping away. All right, you ready? Hey! Oh, I loved doing this live because I'd be like, this is how you clap, audience.
Got your hand right there on the gun now, baby. I feel the danger from a mile away. You're a quick shot man on the run now, baby.
I fucking love this song.
And I can bet you're gonna make me pay. 'Cause I've never been an angel, but I own all my mistakes. And I place my bleeding heart into your hands. Oh, I came to love you, came to leave. I came to love you.
So this whole EP is acoustic. And that was really new for me. I'd never done anything like that. And then this War is on here, which is one of my faves for sure.
Silence falls around my ears.
I sound 12.
You scream, I can't hear a sound.
Yeah. This War is one of the few songs that I've written
Oh, let my
that just came out of me.
tears mercy to
I used to go to Santa Monica and sit on the beach and write during this period of time. And I was like driving home from the beach, and it just like, I was just singing it out loud. It was just coming out of me. It's only happened a few times. I'm Not Unchanged is one of those. This is definitely one of those. And there's one on the new album like that. All to Me was like that too. Just came out of me. I love it when that happens. But then you're like, why does it happen all the time? Okay. I don't know how we made the jump from Shadows to Light to Spectrum. I remember, I don't know why, and I was up late one night, like watching videos on YouTube, and there was this old Streisand video of her singing When the Sun Comes Out on the Ed Sullivan Show. And I was like, somebody needs to make an album like this with horns and just like that era. Somebody needs to do that. And I was like, fuck, is it me? Do I have to do it? So I kind of like loosely brought the idea to my friend Dave Cook, who if I was going to do anything in the sort of near the jazz sphere, I knew that it was going to have to be with David Cook. And I brought the idea to him, and it just sort of morphed from there. And what it ended up being was sort of like a modern take on a big band album with pop songs and a couple originals, which I fought tooth and nail to write. I really didn't want to write. More recently, I traced it back to feeling like my originals were failures. In terms of what I hoped for them, I felt that Superhero and O'Farrell Street were failures. Because I thought that they would slingshot me or my career forward in some way. And when they didn't, that sort of translated to me as a failure. And so writing those 3 songs that I wrote on Spectrum, I literally, at some point, David was like, we are going into the studio this weekend, and we are still missing a song. And that's when I wrote Remember the Day. But yeah, I think Spectrum was an attempt to maybe grow up in a way, and grown-ups make big band albums. So Spectrum, we only did a limited pressing of the vinyl. And so I did them myself. I got like a stamp, and I stamped them and signed them. It was only for a certain level of pledges. This was also a crowdfunded album. Thank you for all the people who were excited about it. I don't know what side this is or what's gonna play. God, I love that sound.
Breaks your heart.
Yeah. Listen to that band,
twice
man.
As smart
God.
as I.
And the arrangements is crazy.
Somebody who will swear to be true like you used to do with me. Who she breaks your heart to bits. Let me just see if the puzzle fits so fine. That's when I'll discover that revenge is so sweet as I sit there applauding from a front row seat when somebody breaks your heart like you broke mine.
I never listened to my own album, so like hearing them all these years later is crazy. That album is crazy. That was a monumental accomplishment. Like 2 days at East West with a 13, 14 piece, 18, 17, a huge big band. And everyone was just so extraordinary, and they just read their charts and they were done. And then I spent weeks after that recording vocals. This is like, I think, one of the best albums vocally that I've ever, it may always be the best album vocally that I may ever make. And All to Me is on this album, which is also one of the songs that I can't believe came out of me. Like, I just clearly was the vessel for that one. Right after Spectrum, I went back to Broadway for the first time in 15 years to do Waitress. Yeah. I don't know, it's like I came back with freedom. And I had never had that on a Broadway stage before. It always felt very much like it's paint by numbers, and you follow, and you have to say the lines this way, and you have to sing the words this way, and you have to hit these notes and these numbers. And I feel like I came back with a feeling of like, I'm bringing that freedom to these parameters, if that makes sense. What's next is COVID happened, and the shutdown happened, and I recorded the aptly named Salah. One of the most widely held definitions for this Hebrew word, Salah, is pause or breath. And that felt like an appropriate name for a project that was made during the shutdown, because I feel like we were all taking a pause and a breath. And this is just a cutie little 3-song EP, a thringle, if you will. And this one's different because we made it entirely, isolated from each other. I recorded all my vocals. This is the first time I recorded all my vocals alone, by myself, comped them myself. Like, that served me well, because I did a lot of that on this new album too. And this is the most exposed, truly, my voice has ever been.
Midnight in the middle of the moonlight, in the summer on the late night, and you.
This is kind of the most vulnerable you'd probably ever heard me at this point.
I could see you through the whiskey, and my eyes, they were
The most exposed, the most.
Came and went way too fast. I know we were meant to last more than a moment. Corner what you can't look past. Now all I can do is try to remember.
This is project number 4 at this point. Superhero of Feral Street,
5.
Shadows to Light, Spectrum. This is number 5. Number 6 is Sing Your Hallelujah. Christmas. You know I love Christmas. Well, kind of still during the pandemic, we still managed to somehow get the gosh darn Apollo Theater to let us put on a show and film almost like a docu-concert of my annual Apollo Christmas show. We filmed it and it was beautiful, and I loved it so much, and sonically it turned out so beautifully. We recorded it live, obviously, for the filming purposes, and afterwards I was like, are we making a mistake not releasing this as an album? And we got all of the incredible artists that are on it to agree, and yeah. And the greatest part about having this forever is that Gavin's on it. And that song with Gavin and Shayna is like so beautiful and haunting. And I remember when the gift, for those who know, the gift of singing with Gavin was such a precious, rare, extraordinary thing. Yeah, and that's my favorite thing on this project. Let's get to the Gavin part.
From this broken hill, all your praises they shall ring. If it be your will to let me see.
I found these the other day. I was looking through old pictures. Babies.
If there is a choice, let the rivers spill on, let the hills rejoice, and let the mercy spill on these burning hearts in love. If it be your will, to make us well.
Yeah, that album, I love that album. Mostly because I love Christmas. And it's my own, it's a Christmas album. It's a live album, neither of which I'd ever done. And it's fucking live at the Apollo when the world was shut down. So I think that album and that moment and that day of filming represents a lot. And, the people who said yes and participated on that day, Shayna Steele, Daniel Watts, Jeremy Jordan, Gavin, those are like my family, people who are like my whole heart. Yeah, that's a special one. This is why I love doing what we're doing tonight and looking back on all those projects, because I wouldn't be here with this one if I hadn't done every single one of them. None of them were a slingshot. Each one of them is like a brick on the path, ultimately. And I think that people will feel familiar elements. You're gonna feel O'Farrell Street in there. You're gonna feel Shadows to Light. You're gonna feel Salah. You're gonna feel some of Spectrum. You're gonna feel all of these things that really were just leading me back to myself, to the truest, most unfiltered, authentic version of me as a human, as a songwriter, as a singer, really. Terrified and proud. Excited and scared, to quote the greatest composer of all time. November 4th, Only Smoke will not just be my baby number 7, it will be your baby number 7. Yeah.
Ah!